not only is it an exciting time or a jovial time, but danger is also at its peak. Over the days, we've been talking much more about the road traffic accidents that people are likely to face, especially if you drink when you are intoxicated or when you have taken alcohol, of which we encourage people to not drink without taking alcohol, because it may lead to a lot of danger on the roads. You may lead to the loss of other people's lives. Not only should your life that you should be preserving. And this is not only the major cause of these times, but there is also an issue of counterfeit alcohol, which is very harmful and very deadly, and it's a very high risk, and it's at its peak. Counterfeit alcohol is finding its way to the market from both local and international markets. As a way to fight against the scourge, the Bull Red distribution has staged a campaign dubbed Buy Original. Yes, you have to buy original. And to talk much more about the dangers of counterfeit alcohol, we are joined in the studio today by Phil Chard. Phil Chard, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. This is one of the critical issues that are rampant in our society, and in the most cases that you may actually not plan the harm, unlike speeding, but it's something that people can actually buy without knowing. So first of all, what is counterfeit alcohol and why is it dangerous?
Well, we define counterfeit alcohol as any alcohol that has not been produced to health and safety standards. It may contain harmful amounts of ethanol, methanol, and other illicit chemicals that can have irreparable damage to the human body.
All right, so how can one actually identify counterfeit alcohol, the likes of original whiskey? How can you actually get into a store? Because we always know that when it comes to fake things, let's say it's fake fashion brands, the price can tell you that this is fake. But sometimes with alcohol, they might actually price fake alcohol to the same price that you can't tell. So now how can you then identify as an individual?
I think you just touched on one of those things. So there's a general policy that we use in retail, which is the 4 Ps, which is price, place, packaging, and product.
Okay.
So the price, as you mentioned, is it priced reasonably within the range of what this thing should be doing? The packaging, does it look like the original product that I've normally bought? The place, am I buying it from a reputable supermarket, or am I buying it from the back of a Toyota Wish?
Yeah.
Those type of things play a part, and consumers need to be informed and aware of those things. And then ultimately, it's also the specific things that we are doing at Bull Red are helping consumers identify original products through safety markers that we've placed on the bottles. So there's a white drink responsibly sticker on our Jameson and Jameson bottles.
Okay.
People should be aware that like the original Jameson in the market is the 750 ml. Any other size they should be wary of, and they should ask questions. For Jameson, for example, and other whiskey variants, there's still a holographic QR code on the back, white drink responsibly sticker on the side, and then a plastic seal on the neck, and then also the weight of the bottle. So these are things that consumers should look out for, be wary of, and demand when they purchase their product, whether it's at a retail outlet or at a bar, a night spot, etc. These are things that they should ask when we're selling them.
All right, so now speaking from a professional point of view, what is the scale of counterfeit alcohol in South Africa and particularly Zimbabwe?
It's hard to gauge for Zimbabwe because no real official studies have been done. Anecdotally, what we've seen is a great increase year over year, which is becoming very concerning. In South Africa, there are some numbers to it. So the latest report says about 22% of all alcohol in the market in South Africa is illicit. That is costing the South African government about 6 billion rand a year. And because a lot of the products in Zimbabwe are imported across the border from South Africa, it's something Zimbabwean consumers should be wary of, because a lot of that product is coming from across the border already. And in previous years, we've reported on incidents of people in Zimbabwe making illicit alcohol. So the problem is only getting more and more exacerbated.
All right, now to the critical issue, what are the effects of counterfeit alcohol?
I think the most dire one is death. Sadly,
Yeah.
and not to be alarmist, but consumers need to be aware that death could be the most harmful effect. There's liver diseases, lifelong liver diseases, blindness, other skin related ailments, and it's quite a litany. But I think the most important thing is there are side effects that could be lifelong that people need to be aware of.
All right. And how can major brands such as Jameson Irish Whiskey and Jameson protect themselves from counterfeits from the producer point of view?
So what we do as distributors is we receive the original product from Panoro Kadwa, the company that manufactures it, and then in market in Zimbabwe, we do our best to help the Zimbabwean consumer identify these things, and we do so without trying to raise the cost.
All right.
So consumers also need to be aware of the pricing, as you mentioned. So you're looking at around $20 US, $25 US for both those products that you mentioned.
Yep.
Anything at retail below that, you need to start asking questions. Anything that's close to that at a night spot is also a little too cheap, because how are they making a profit? So it's all about informing you and giving you as many tools as possible so that you can ask questions and say, wait a minute, okay, does the price making sense? Does the product look good? Where am I buying it? etc. There's also things like taste. Become familiar with the taste of the product. Understanding how whiskeys, for example, are made. Whiskeys all across the board are not made with sugars. So a whiskey should not contain sugar, therefore it should not streak in your glass. If you dip your fingers in it and you rub them together, they should not stick. If they do that, then you should ask questions like, why is this tasting like it is? There's also obviously the color and consistency, because they're using ethanol or methanol, and then they use artificial sweetness to mask that. You can tell that there's a difference in the color and difference in texture of these products, and it's really important that consumers become aware of these things.
Oh, thank you very much. That was so informative. I say Jameson, say it off. Yeah, guys. I think spelling could be one of the other things.
No, it's a common mistake. But I think as Zimbabweans, we shouldn't be too strung up on pronouncing a German word, as long as the people know what we're talking about.
That's true. That's true. We don't even fuss when they don't pronounce German words or any local languages, properly. So Thank you very much for alerting us, actually. Because the society really needs this, not only for us, but the people around us, to always make sure that they're consuming healthy things, because it can be very costly.
Indeed. I think that ultimately that's the biggest message we're trying to drive home is you may be saving $1 or $2 in the short run, but in the long run, you're costing yourself a lot of money in health and even a life.
All right, so that was Chard joining us this morning in the studio, talking about counterfeit alcohol, and this is a very major cause for concern, and we should be highlighting much more of this. One of the very critical things when it comes to festivities, celebrations, we cannot celebrate a very bad future by consuming what is wrong, by driving fast on the roads. All these things are things we have to look out for during the festive season. Or